Okay. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, good morning, everybody. Today we're going to talk about creating a CMA. What is a CMA? What's a CMA? Does anybody know?
Comparative Market Analysis.
Some people call it a comparable market analysis, some people call it comparative market analysis. Either one is correct. To me, it's the same thing. And what is that? What's a comparative market analysis?
Compare market.
Yeah, but
So
You
when
can
you-
compare the property to get the pricing, like you try to match up. Like if there's one house, you're just trying to match up to the pricing.
yeah, so it's pretty much,
All the-
You can adjust the pricing too.
Exactly.
so it's pretty much comparing recent sales to the subject property and trying to come up with a list price based on the recent sales. Right, so that's what we're gonna do today. You're gonna get a call at some point, or, from a relative, family, friend, neighbor, or from your farm, if you guys are farming. And they're gonna wanna know how much their home's worth. Because you're gonna offer that service for free, right? For complimentary CMA. And we're gonna talk about how to do that today. So the first thing you need to do is go into the MLS. And I printed out just a random property. I went into the MLS, I picked a random property, nothing that's on the market. This home hasn't been on the market ever. So it's gonna be good because there's no history of it being sold or priced or anything like that. Morning, come on in. So the first thing we're gonna do in the MLS is we're gonna go up to search, residential and detail.
Sit there, almost sit there.
I see.
Oh. Sorry about that.
We're gonna go to search, residential and detail. And my subject property is in Irvine. It's in the Walnut area in College Park. It's 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 1420 square feet. The lot size is 5,500 square feet. It's a single family residence. So I'm gonna look for similar properties to this, right? Recent sales. So I wanna know what's active under contract, what's pending, and what's closed. The reason I'm gonna look for active under contract and not just closed is because we wanna create a report for the seller. Let the seller know, I'm not just showing you what's sold recently, right? And what they sold for. I also wanna show you what's on the market. So what's your competition? How they're priced and how long they've been on the market for. Just to give them an idea. If you overprice your home, it's gonna sit on the market. When you show them what's in escrow, either pending or active under contract, it shows them what the listing price was and how many days it was on the market and the fact that it's in escrow. And that helps you convey the message of this was priced right and it was only on the market for 7 days. And it's in escrow, right? So that's how you can use that information. So that's why we're using active and pending in addition to closed. And for closed, you don't have to go back 180 days. You can go back 60 days. If you don't find any comps, you can go even further back, right, to 180 days. Some people go back 365 days because maybe homes don't sell in that neighborhood. But I'm gonna leave it at 180 and see what it comes up with, what it gives me. And
So actually, if you go back so far than 3 months, then your purpose is not compare the houses. You wanted to probably.
the market,
some other.
depending on how the market is, right? If the market's trending upwards,
Mhm.
then those sale prices are older, right? So now it's probably worth more. But if the prices are trending downward, then you can say that's how much they sold at a better market. So now we're looking at trends where prices are dropping in that neighborhood. So what we're gonna do here is, this is a single family, so I'm gonna select single family residence. And mine is a detached that we're looking at, so property attached, no. And let's see, it's in Orange County. It's in Irvine. You can type in the city or select it from the list. And this is in Walnut. And so there's a couple ways you can do this. Remember how we talked about on the search, when you're searching in an area, you can select the MLS area, but the people that enter this information are realtors. And sometimes realtors don't know what they're doing. and they enter the wrong information. So if I select the area, there might be more listings in that area that's sold. But the listing agent is not from the area, so they entered the wrong area. So it's not gonna come up.
So you do not recommend for the area?
You could start that way,
Oh,
right? You can start that way, but if you know the outline of the area, like in this tract or this area, I know where College Park is and how to outline it. So I'm gonna outline it, but let's just use this for now.
okay.
So I know this is in the Walnut area. And I know this is College Park, so I'm gonna select College Park. All right, I'm gonna leave this alone here. And now on the right-hand side, I know my home, my subject
bedroom.
property is a 3-bedroom, so I'm gonna compare it to other 3-bedrooms. And I'm gonna leave baths alone, because sometimes you're gonna have 2 or 2.5 baths, or sometimes, 2 3/4 or 1 3/4, but they're really 2. And again, agents enter information that they think is correct, and it's not always correct. So we don't have to harp on the bathrooms, as long as we have the same bedrooms.
Can I ask you, in some analysis, the 2 bedroom /0/1/0, what that slash means?
So the first 0, the first number is 3/4 bath. So if you have 2 full baths, and then it's like,
Oh,
actually the first one is the full baths.
2 baths. Okay.
And then the next one, comma, next one is 3/4 baths.
Oh, okay.
And that's like a shower, toilet, sink.
Mhm.
The next one is half bath, which is toilet, sink.
Mhm.
And then the last one is quarter bath, which is just a sink.
Just a second.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah,
Okay.
I haven't seen any quarter baths, but at least not in this area. So we're just gonna do 3 bedrooms, and I know that the subject property here is 1420 square feet. What you wanna do is under living area, you wanna enter a couple hundred square feet less than a couple hundred square feet more. So I'm gonna do, let's say 1,200 to 1,600. I want everything within that, because that falls pretty much under what we're looking for here. So it says that we have 3 matches. You guys see at the bottom here, it says 3 matches. Now, what I like to do is I wanna look at where they're at on the map. So I click on map. And then it shows me, okay. Zoom in here. There's one there, and I think this one was entered twice. If I'm not mistaken, 3621, yeah, I don't know. Okay, so this one was sold
And then back up.
and then back on the market for a lot more, so it's a comp for, a recent sale, but it's also on the market, which is, I can't believe that they're listing it for that much, but anyway. So we have 2 comps there that we can use. So the other way that I mentioned earlier was, I know the area here, so I'm gonna outline it. So I'm gonna click on draw, use the polygon tool to draw this. So this is the area I'm searching in. And the reason you wanna do this is because homes in this area here, in this tract, might not be the same as the ones across the street. See, there's a street here that separates this neighborhood from that neighborhood, which is Walnut, and this area over here is called the Colony. And then up here is Harvard Square. And again, they might be different builders, they might be built at different times, different years. They might be different styles, they might be attached, they might be, whatever the reason might be, they're different. But at times you might be able to compare the Colony, because I know the area, they're similar homes. But for right now, we just want to do the College Park. And they might be priced a little bit differently too. So if I'm gonna select the area here, I'm gonna go back to criteria and then remove College Park from here, because I've already selected the area. And then there's no extra results that I'm getting, it's still the same 3. But if there was an error, if an agent entered a listing wrong, with the wrong area, and because I selected that particular neighborhood, then that would come up. But there was no errors or anything, so we're gonna use this. So now that we have these, let's look at the square footage, let's look at the bedrooms, baths. And they're both 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, and then the active one is 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. I don't know why this one says,
Square feet.
yeah, they added square footage to it, estimated, see that? They're trying to make it look better.
Oh. And A stands for
Assessor, per the assessor.
assessor, okay.
Yeah, so this, the 1420 square feet was pulled from the assessor, and the 1500 square feet is estimated. So you can enter an estimated square footage, as long as it doesn't, as long as it's reasonable, right? It could be 25 extra square feet, give or take, or 50 square feet, give or take. So because you're saying it's estimated. Other, options are per the seller, per public records, per estimated, for the assessor.
What's
Yes,
the SLC means and the TRUS
oh, this is a standard sale, and this was sold from a trust,
or trust?
which is,
Oh,
it's
okay.
standard sale, except that it was sold from a trust instead of just an individual.
So that means this one has a different owner, right? The second owner.
The
is under
trust, it could have been the owner who's the successor trustee or whatever, the trustee of their own trust,
Mhm.
not the successor, the trustee of their own trust, or maybe it was their beneficiaries, maybe it was the kids that inherited the property and sold it. It doesn't say that here. It just says that it was in a trust and was sold from a trust. But that doesn't change the fact that it sold for whatever it's sold for, or how it's sold. So I'm gonna use these comps. So I'm gonna select all of them. And I'm gonna click on Cloud CMA.
What's the difference between Cloud CMA and the regular CMA?
Cloud
Okay,
CMA has
okay.
a better presentation. It has photos, it has better graphs and all that.
Oh,
If you use a CMA that's within the MLS, which is right here, where you just do CMA here,
mhm.
this is just black and white, generic, smaller. You can just do like a couple pages. This one's a better presentation. You have more fluff that you can add to it. So right here, the seller's, the report is gonna be, I'm gonna name the report, John Smith, just so I know that that's John Smith's house. And then the subject property address is 3532 Otis Street, Irvine. And when I select it, it's gonna auto-populate. It's supposed to auto-populate, it didn't do it. Let's try that again. Lotus Street. Huh. That's strange. Maybe because it was never sold in the MLS. So it's supposed to auto-populate information, the bedrooms, bathroom, let's just add that to it. And that's it. And then when we scroll down, you're gonna see that it's pulling through the listings from the MLS.
Oh, wait,
What
what's
is it?
the address? Can you scroll?
3532.
Okay, got it.
So now I'm gonna click on fetch listings. And now it's gonna go to the MLS and pull the information, all the data from the MLS. Yes? You have a question?
Oh, no.
Oh, I thought you were gonna ask.
John was
Oh.
passing by just saying hi.
So when I click on fetch listings, it's gonna pull over all the pictures and data from the MLS on those listings. And it's gonna show me here on the map where the subject property is located, which is the little blue dot. Pin, and then where the comps are located on the map. And then down here we have this correct information. You can enter a suggested list price here. I don't recommend to add a suggested list price here. This will show up on the report. Because whatever price you come up with sometimes isn't good enough for the seller. And you might offend them, so I wouldn't put anything in writing, but just have something in mind and show them the evidence, right? Now we're gonna click on customize report. And usually you're gonna see all these pages here on the left. If you open all those tabs there, they're all gonna be in this section here on the right, included in your report. So what I did the first time is I went ahead and printed a PDF with all the pages. And then I went through and just removed the ones I don't want to come up with whatever I think is good enough for me to use, right? And then I came back into Cloud CMA and I removed those pages. If you hit the little minus, it removes that page from your report. So that's why all these here, they're on the left. These used to be part of my report, but I got rid of them. I don't need that stuff. And if you want to view them, you can hover over them and the little eye right there, it's a preview. You can see what it is. Suggested list price. I don't want that suggested list price because it's suggesting it based on the other listing. So,
Always.
yeah, so we're not gonna use that.
For the, excuse me, let's see this. For the pricing, the recommendation to the client, you make your own judgment.
Yes. And there's different ways you can do that. That's a good question.
What's the premium means?
This is, you have to pay for these.
Oh.
Yeah, to add these pages to it.
Oh.
But let's look at the report, just so you guys can take a look at what it comes up with.
You pay to MLS or,
No, to Cloud CMA,
Oh,
if you want those extra premium pages, in your report.
is that
that's the
typical?
premium
Do
page
people
in the
do that?
report.
I don't know of anybody that's paid for it. Everyone just uses the free version. It's good enough. Okay, so now I created it. I'm gonna click on view PDF. And this is what the report looks like. If you have a picture of the house, you can definitely upload it and instead of the map, but this shows you where it's located on the map. This is for John Smith. This is for that property address, Lotus Street. My information as a second page, and then a map. You guys saw this earlier, where the subject property is located and where the comps are. And more information here. Let me zoom into it. Here's a summary of comparable properties. So average price, average square foot is 1420, so they're both the same. And average sold price is this. Average price per square foot is this, right here at 960. So if you wanted to use this, you could use the average as a listing price, suggested listing price, or you could use the last sale, depending on if it was sold last, right? And everyone's gonna do it differently. But this isn't gonna be the final price. Or the other version, the other way is, if you didn't have comps that were exactly the same square footage, then you're gonna use price per square foot times the square footage of the property, and that could be your suggested list price. Because maybe we didn't find any that were 1420 square feet. Maybe we found some that were 1500 square feet, 1300 square feet, and they're gonna give us an average price per square foot. And we're gonna multiply that times 1420, and that should give us the suggested list price. So there's different ways of coming up with pricing rate. And you can talk to your seller about it, say, look, if we go by average price per square foot, this is what it should be listed at. If we go based on the last sale, this is where we could list it at. Or you can make a combination of both, right? Or you could do the average.
Excuse me,
Yes,
I think, yeah, should we look at the upgrades inside the house? That matters
Yes.
on the sales price, and then we look at our property, subject property.
right. So this is just evidence of the comps.
I see.
And then we go
You
into,
go,
yeah.
okay.
and that, so
I
we
think
have,
that's important, that could.
oh, it's very important, yeah.
$300,000.
Yeah. So this is just based on the comps.
I see.
Then you're going to see what upgrades the property has or lack of upgrades. And you're gonna compare it to, and that's where we're gonna go through here. So we're gonna keep going, well, and then this page also has what's active on the market, which this is just not realistic. That's a big difference, there's no way that's gonna sell for that. Then we're gonna go to the listings themselves. So now you can show the seller, look, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, this was one of the comps, and look at the inside. These are all the features, here's the description, and we have all the photos. Does your house look like this? Does your house look better than this? Right? Or does your house not look as good as this? Right? So then we're gonna adjust that recommended list price after we look at their house and their upgrades and go over everything. But this is just to, I guess, set their expectation, right? I always recommend to print these pictures out in color. So that way when the seller says, my house is way better than those houses, what makes your house better? This house has brand new this, brand new that. I mean, this one doesn't, but you can show them all the upgrades, right? And then have them explain to you why their home is worth more. Ultimately, they're gonna come up with, they're gonna say, I want this much more, right? So you have to list it at whatever they ask, whatever they tell you to, but.
Is there any way to find out what sort resources is used to determine, let's say your subject property has a specific improvement that the other ones don't, and you want to come up with the additional.
I anticipated that somebody was gonna ask that today. And I actually went into ChatGPT this morning
Uh-huh,
and I asked it, and take this with a grain of salt, but I'm glad you asked that, because I wanted to bust out this list. So, this is what it said, here's how much you could potentially price your home for with each improvement. I told it, give me a list of the most common, biggest improvements for a home and what the return on investment would be if I were to list my property for sale. So, for a garage door replacement, it used an average, and this is a national average, right? $4,500. And your return is 95%, so you can potentially add, and again, this is not 100%, this is what AI is telling me. Out of the 4,500, you can add 4,275 to your list price. So if your home is exactly like the recent sale, and the recent sale was, $1.5 million, you can add, if you spent $4,500 on your new garage door, you can add 4,275 to your list price. And then for, let's say, mid-range, let's say a major re-kitchen model that you paid $70,000 for, you can get 58% return on it. So you can charge, add an additional $40,600 to your list price, even though you spent $70,000 for it. So you're not gonna get 100% dollar for dollar return on it. So if you spend $100,000 on your kitchen, you can't price, you're not gonna get back $100,000 more because you spent that much on the property.
then why is it I've been hearing that you better have your house improved and it all looks bathroom and the kitchen new and up to date before you sell it. So if you don't get the return, so you just sell it like it is and you have the person do it.
Yeah, but you could get more for it is the thing. So like if, let's say a home sold for let's say 2 million. And everything was upgraded. And then you want to sell your house and everything's original. And let's say over the years, the homeowner of the recent sale spent, $400,000, $500,000 to upgrade the home. And everything just looks top notch. Do you think that your home's gonna sell for $2 million?
Of course, you have
Right.
to reduce it based on those improvements.
Right.
So, but I think it's basically because some people don't like to go through the headache of doing all the construction once they buy the house themselves. They want someone else to do it.
So usually, I think,
But then one point that I never knew about or heard of, that, especially kitchen and the bathroom, which is very costly improvement, you get only 57% on it. That was shocking to me.
well, here's the thing, usually a homeowner's not gonna like redo the kitchen just when they're gonna sell the house. They're gonna redo the kitchen because they wanna redo the kitchen while they're living there. And then when they sell it, hey, we have a brand new kitchen, right? And it helps. But they did it for themselves. Usually you're gonna get a remodel of the bathroom, the kitchen, when it's like an investment property. a
No,
flip.
that I understand.
Yeah.
I would never improve, but spend all this money and sell it 6 months, 2 years, or
Right.
even a year later, or 2 years even. But I see all the investors, they buy this home and right away they change the kitchen, they change the floor. And they do a paint, but especially the kitchen and the bathroom and the flooring and the paint. They do it basic stuff and then they list it so much.
It depends how
more.
much they bought it for too. If they got a really good deal on it, like, let's say a couple $100,000 below what the market says it's worth. And then they add like $75,000 to it or put $75,000 into it. And they can sell it for what it's actually worth in the market today. Then they're gonna, they make $100,000 or whatever it is, right? So it's worth it for them because it's $100,000 they made in 2 months? Right, so that's different. Here, this guy thinks that this house sold for $1,306,000, but then he thinks he's gonna sell it for $1.8 million.
Yeah.
how much improvements did he put into it? In his mind, he thinks that he's gonna get a return, but he's not. Who knows, maybe he will, I mean, I didn't look at the pictures, but anyway. I pulled up this list, I don't know how accurate this list is, but ChatGPT told me that this is on average what you get, yes.
Do you have a copy of that?
Yeah, I can make you a copy.
How did you guys do it before? Before the AI? I mean, the-
There's websites, for home improvements that you can get information from.
Did I see that?
Yeah, there's websites, that like, I think it's, remodeling companies have that had that information, so you really had to look for it. And so, and when someone has it, then they share it with everybody, right? So,
But this will compare it to, like if one had approval, one didn't have approval, it kind of subtract.
but that's not an improvement.
Oh,
Yes, an improvement is, or like a remodel or a brand new kitchen. And then how can you really compare how much you got? Was it because of the kitchen that you got more money? Or maybe because you had it, you know? I don't know.
Also the taste used in the remodeling makes a difference too. I mean, how designer look versus just made it new, you know, and how good it looks.
Right.
The material used and the design.
But also keep in mind that most people that have a newer kitchen is because they want a new kitchen for themselves, and it's their taste, and
Yeah,
they didn't anticipate, I'm gonna sell the house in 6 months or a year, but you could still advertise it's a newer kitchen compared to the cost. So
does
that,
it have the view in it, view?
this was just for updates.
Just for
Yeah,
improvement, is there one for the view, depending what kind of a view?
yeah, you can add $100,000, $200,000
For
to
view.
you, yeah.
I know, but I used to know about the 100,000.
Yeah, you can go into AI and see what it says. I
So
mean,
it's
I
good
wouldn't.
to rely on AI.
No, that's why I said take it with a grain of salt. I don't know the accuracy of it, but it gives you an idea.
Right.
And if a seller, you're talking to a seller, you can say, according to, you know,
AI.
AI, or, you know, and a lot of people are going with AI. This is what it says, but, you know,
It all depends.
at least you have something to show them. Yeah, but again, I wouldn't go based on this, but it's just an idea
Yeah, right.
of what they can, which they charge.
Maybe if they, or something, I'll say, cite it for me, and we'll give me the sources. So I can double check.
Yeah, you can do that. So then it shows you the listings again, the pictures, just keep going here. And analysis, let's see what the analysis says. Average price per square foot, average days on market, based on the listed price, they listed it pretty well,
Yeah,
right?
2 days.
2 days average. And then this one's been on the market for 3 days,
Look at the difference.
So much.
but this is still on the market. I guarantee you guys, this is gonna be on the market for a very long time. Again, I didn't look at the pictures, but unless they added like gold floors, yeah, that's, oh, for $500,000. Yeah, what did they do to it? Here we go, on average, the property sold for 107% of what they listed at. This one was listed at $1,349,000 and it sold for $1,420,000. This was listed for $1,200,000 and it sold for $1,306,000. So they were priced right,
So this is the recent data?
yes.
What was the date of those two sales? I'm sorry.
One of them was April, the other one was May.
Of this year?
Yes.
May. Oh, wow, okay.
That's crazy though, 2 days for like April, May.
Yeah.
On market, cause I know it slowed down during that time, right?
It was still doing pretty well.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
started June.
Yeah,
to kind of really step down.
so this is the report that you have that you can give to your client, and again, you're using this as evidence, right? I did my research, this is what I came up with, based on the recent sales, and you can explain everything to them, right? You price it right, you're gonna sell it faster. You overprice it, it's gonna sit on the market, well, we don't know, we don't have an example of something that was overpriced. Well, we do, but it's new, so it doesn't show you, doesn't help you make the point.
Is that enough though?
Is that enough way?
Homes, 2 sold, 1 active.
There's
One.
two recent, there are two sold properties that recently sold that are the exact same square footage in the same neighborhood. I think that's pretty good. But if there isn't, then you can go a little bit further out and you'd have to go further back, but even then you'd have to tell them, explain to them how the market's changed between then and now. So if you want to overprice it, especially with prices, it's kind of stagnating and possibly going down in some areas, but I think in Irvine, they're more stagnating. And some agents have overpriced the homes, so that's why you see a lot of price drops.
What if in the same tract, such as your, things there? And one is, let's say, so much square footage more, let's say one is, this the recent sold, one is 3,000, one is 2,500, and yours is 1,400. Can you still use that, because, no,
I like the question because it helps, it's gonna help me with something that to explain something. So typically the rule is, and it's not because anyone said it, it's because there's evidence for it. The bigger the higher the square footage, the
Less.
less price per square foot. The smaller the square footage, the more price per square foot, the higher price per square foot. So that's why that wouldn't work.
so within 200 square feet,
Yes.
exactly what we did here, that's a typical,
You could do 200 or 300,
Circular.
yeah, 200 or 300 square feet, plus and minus.
Uh-huh.
And just use that range, but once you already go 500 to 1,000 square feet more,
it's not comparable,
Yeah,
really.
yeah. then the price is gonna either be higher per square foot or
Mhm.
lower per square foot, because you went too far outside that.
Okay.
Okay, so you guys got the idea of how to create the CMA, right? And then what the report looks like. All right, so let's close out of that. And then they also have this live view, if you want to use this for your presentation. And this live view is just pretty much, I mean, if you take your tablet and you're showing them, and swiping and doing all that, so this is what it would look like, and then, this is my agent resume, and then this is the company information, and what is the other one? It doesn't even have that, so that's why I wouldn't use this. And then,
I'm sorry, isn't this printed in a folder given to the client to?
yeah, but this is just a live view. If you don't
Oh,
want
I
to print it,
understand.
and you want to do, yeah.
How'd you go there? From the PDF?
No.
So where it's, it shows you that it's created, you're gonna click either view the
Oh,
PDF and
yeah.
download that and print it, or you're gonna do the live,
Got it.
view live.
So. I know you haven't seen the home, but what would you price the home?
Well, I would look at the house first. But if the house looked like one of these other ones, I would go based on the highest sale. And then go from there.
But if the last one is in April or March, how you adjust the now? Let's say 1 million. Okay, even the last 1 million, how you gonna adjust now? In September, let's say.
Well, I have the perfect answer for you. There's a listing on the market right now for 1,888,000.
Mhm.
If I list mine at 1,450,000, who is this gonna sell first? Yeah, they're gonna look at mine, they're gonna look at that one, and they're gonna be like, you know what? It's the same square footage, it's the same whatever, and for $400,000 less,
Okay,
they're gonna go after mine, even if I priced it at the last comp. But if that comp wasn't there, or that other listing wasn't there,
Mhm.
then you could use a different approach. I mean, it depends on how fast the seller wants to sell the property, right? If the owner they have to sell because they're moving out of state, then we're gonna price it on the average, I think, maybe a little under 1.4. And then see if people outbid each other, right? If not, then at least we're gonna get what the average sell price is. And then they can sell it and move on. But if they can wait, they have time to wait, then we list it at 1.4, whatever that was. And hopefully sell it at that price. But you're never gonna be exact. Everyone's gonna
It
come
all
up,
depends.
I'm gonna come up with a different list price than you, and even appraisers are gonna come up with a different list price. And what appraisers do, I'm under the impression that they do a 1 mile radius around the property. And then they look for all the 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, similar square footage. But the thing is, they don't take into account, and what appraisers don't know is that this neighborhood is different from the neighborhood across the street. Right, so you can't go based on that. And maybe an agent entered the information incorrectly that it's a condo instead of a single family. And now they're using that as a comp, and you just can't do that. So even though appraisers know what they're doing, sometimes they don't know what they're doing. But as long as they appraise the property and it sells, then, you know, it doesn't matter, right?
Also, isn't it recommended or best thing to do for an agent is actually the sold ones, drive by it, look at the curb appeal. But sometimes the pictures are not 100% representative. To just go in the neighborhood and drive that street versus yours and put it back.
You can do that,
to the
yeah.
curb appeal.
Yeah, you can do that. I mean, I'm gonna just look at the pictures, and if it's in the same neighborhood, yeah, you can drive by and take a look at it. Especially if you farm in that neighborhood, you already know what it looks
Oh,
like.
yeah, if you farm it.
Yeah, because hopefully you're farming an area and you already know what, you know, what we recommend is if you're farming in an area, you want to go to all the open houses, the brokerage previews, you preview the property if they don't have an open house or brokerage preview, that you look at the property, right? So that way you know when you're talking to other homeowners and they're asking about it, you can say, oh, well, yeah, I was in that property and, you know, the pictures look better than it actually looks in. Right? So now you have that expertise because you've been in that property. You should know what they are. Or you could say that the house is way better than the pictures show. You know, the agent didn't do it justice. Like it's worth more or whatever it is, right? But you know, you have that inside knowledge because you've seen the property. So it's not just looking at the curb appeal; it's actually going inside the house.
Inside the, yeah, that's even better, I guess. How is the farming? How someone farm just sends flyer by the email?
We have a farming class.
Oh, good, okay. We need to know about that.
Yeah, if you want to farm, and the good thing about farming is that most of the agents that are successful, that are still around, they've been doing this for years. They're farmers, they farm. And they stick to an area and they just flood it with marketing.
Constantly get
And
them
eventually they
interested.
become the area expert and that's who people call. They see your for sale signs, they see your involvement in the community. They see the flyers in their mailbox, on their doorstep, on your social media. When they're looking through it, they're like, hey, that lady leaves flyers on my doorstep. I've seen her before, right? And then you become the person that they think about when they think about selling their house.
So when are you gonna have that farming class?
It's probably coming up in probably a month, but we have a recording of it. We record every day. So if you don't want to wait until that class comes up, you can watch the recording of it.
Okay, is there where do I go to look at it?
But I'll tell you after.
Okay, yeah, thanks.
Me too, I want to.
You can send it to us.
Okay, so Cloud CMA, you guys got that, right? Let me close out of that.
That's Holden's market, by the way.
Yeah, this is where Holden farms. All right, so
What was that? I'm sorry, what did you say?
Holden, he's an agent, that College Park is
The
this.
agent, I
Yeah.
see.
yeah, this is where he farms. Okay, so another thing you want to do is even before, and I should have mentioned this before, even before going into, you know, to look for comps, you want, when you go to the MLS, go to Realist and pull up a Realist tax report or let's see, property report for that property. So it was 3532. This.
This is your listing report, right?
No, it's the property report. It's the tax records for the property. And so,
For the property you're going to sell,
yes,
right? Okay.
yeah. So before you do anything, pull this report up. And then you want to get a property profile from title also. You want to compare everything. So this tells you who the owners are.
How did you get here? You're in.
I clicked on realist tax, right here,
Okay.
realist tax.
And then,
And then you enter you click on search and then you enter the property address and then it pulls up the report. And this tells you, right, because the person's gonna call you and want you to do a listing presentation. And then just with the address, you already know that it's 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 1420 square feet, 5,500 square foot lot, what year it was built, it's a single family home, and then who the owner is of the property, right? You wanna make sure that the person you're talking to That's the
Owns
list of
it.
home is the actual owner of the property. That's why you need the title report. And the tax record, because there might be two different names, and the title report is gonna have everything you need to make sure that's up to date.
So it was bought at 220?
Yeah,
Is that what that is?
yeah, it was bought
So
in,
many
Wait,
years
it's-
so if you
ago.
scroll
Oh my
down,
gosh, in the
1970s.
90s.
if you scroll down, it's gonna tell you when it was purchased.
1990s.
Wow.
94.
Let's see, it was 2006.
94.
2006, so for that house, you remember?
No, I think it's 94.
94.
Yeah,
94
this
is
is
220.
Oh, wait,
They put it in the
they
trust.
put it in the trust, they put it in the trust, yeah. That's true.
94, so 30 years?
Yep, this is it right there.
31.
30
Yeah,
years.
that makes sense,
Yeah,
yeah.
20,
You're
yeah.
right.
And then in 2006, they put it in their trust, yeah.
1.6 million.
Yeah.
was-
Thank you for pointing that out. But anyway, you guys can see here all the different times it was sold or transferred.
What does nominal mean? Why?
Nominal,
It says why, semester, yes.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what that is. But anyway, so this is, you're gonna pull this up, and then another thing that I would do is go into the MLS and look up anytime this property's been listed. So the way you can do that is just enter the property address in this search. Come on, go away. All right, right there. So 35, 32. Lotus, that's it. No street, no north, no south, just the street number and the street name. You hit enter. It's gonna show you a list of any time it's been listed on the market in the MLS. And it hasn't been in the MLS. So. And if there is any report here or any old listing, you want to print that out as well. Because it's gonna be helpful, once you get the listing, and you're adding the listing to the MLS, to have that information about the listing of the property. Okay, so let's go back to the tax record. I want to show you guys something. So there's some agents that they don't want to do a full CMA. So they'll just go here and look at what the real AVM is. And they'll use this price as the listing price.
Oh, babies.
This is based on algorithms and data that the system finds, and I would never go based on that. Another thing that people do
Why?
is, why?
Why?
Because it's not accurate.
Oh, because it's just based on numbers, not actual property location and condition.
No, it's not based on actual real comps. It's based on other sales, but it might not be exact comparables, or maybe the same area, or maybe the same year built, or maybe the same property type.
Oh, I thought it's in the same area and stuff, okay, so.
No, the system goes, remember, it goes a mile.
Oh.
All these values and that values, they go a mile out and they
I
use
see.
all that
No,
data.
yeah. I'm
Just like 35, 32, Lotus, Street, Irvine. Just like Zillow. So this is what the owner's gonna do, is they're gonna go on Zillow to see how much their home is worth. They're gonna look at the Zestimate. And Zillow says their home is worth $1,306,000. And then guess what, Mr. and Mrs. Seller? I looked at the comps and I think your home's worth $1,004,000. Zillow's wrong. Right? And again, they use the same thing. They go a mile out and they use all the data. Okay. Another way you can make a CMA is using Realtor Property Resource, which is also a tool within the MLS. And it pulls up a different kind of report. It looks similar, but it's a little bit different. So when you're on the home page here on the dashboard for the MLS, you can either scroll down, and yours is gonna be different because you can move these modules around. I just put mine on the left-hand side. You can click on Realtor Property Resource right here. And the first time you log into it, you might have to set up your profile and everything, right? So keep that in mind. It might not just go straight into it like mine does.
What do you set up your profile? your personal profile?
Yeah, see, there's my picture up there,
Okay,
and then I go to my
my.
profile
Profile.
settings, I'm gonna add my phone
Personal.
number, my email address, my website, all that stuff, my picture, so that when it creates reports for me, it personalizes it with my contact information on it. So I wanna create a CMA, so I'm gonna click on create CMA.
Can you go back, how did you get here? I missed that.
On the homepage here in the MLS,
Okay.
look for external links
External.
and then Realtor Property Resource. Let's just type the address up here. And I want to create a CMA, so now that it shows me this property, I'm gonna click on CMA here. Look what this tells me, that the estimated value is. That's a little bit closer to what we came up with. But we're gonna go through and confirm all the facts about the property, so let's click on edit. And it's 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, okay, all the information seems correct. All right, so I'm gonna say confirm. Adjust comps, it's gonna say find comps. I ran this earlier, just to test it before I did this class. And let me just remove the comps and I'll do this over. I'm gonna clear that.
I think there's an X up top, show first, and then there's an X right next to it.
We'll go back to it. Okay, so when you search, it's gonna come up with this first, right? The screen. And you select what applies. So this is a single family, you want active pending, just like we did on the MLS. So this is like you're searching the MLS, but in a different way. And you're gonna select active pending, active in the contract and closed. And then you're gonna say within the last 3 months, I wanna go within the last 6 months because that's what I did on the MLS. And I wanna look for homes that are 3 bedrooms. And I don't care about that, so let's just uncheck that. And then square footage between, which is 1,200 to 1,600.
16, 19.
Oh, sorry. And then, let's see. Only what's checked is what's gonna be applied, so everything that's influenced, so price range, that's not gonna be included. And I think that's it, so let me click on search. And it's gonna show me all these other properties around here, but we're gonna do the same thing like we did in the MLS. I don't want any of these other ones, so I'm gonna select the draw shape polygon. And I'm gonna say I want everything that's from here. Okay, so that's only gonna show me properties that are found in there. So if I scroll down, it's gonna show them to me down here. And only what's checkmarked, I'm only using what's checkmarked. So if you don't want it, uncheck it. So this one, it is 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. Where's it located though? Is that one of the comps that we came up with earlier?
Over, yeah.
Yeah.
Look at one.
Yeah, but it said 38 days. Okay. We're also gonna select. This is not one of the comps. But it's close, and I think it's in a different neighborhood, so we're not gonna use this. One thing that RPR is gonna show you is, I think properties that sold off market. Where the MLS doesn't show that, I think Realtor Property Resource might pull those out. So if something sold off market, it'll show up here.
Oh, really? How does it know if it's off market?
I think it pulls,
Data or?
I think it pulls it through the county records, I'm not sure.
Hmm.
But. Yeah, cause I see stuff in here that wasn't in here, like this one. Oh, that's, okay. Select that one. So it's active. That's the one that we used that was active. Why doesn't it show the one that's sold? See this one. We're gonna use that one. That one wasn't there. When we looked for it earlier.
Right.
So you're gonna get more results here. There is the other one. It doesn't show the first sale of the one that's on the market now. And see, I don't like this. It's saying 1.7, nothing sold for 1.7, so it shouldn't even be using that. So anyway, let's update.
Or maybe that's the number they base on to price 1.88.
Well, so now it's saying 1.6,
Oh.
because there's another comp that we found here that
Yeah,
wasn't
right.
there before. So. Now you're gonna click on create report. And we want a CMA. And then it gives you a preview of what it's gonna look like. All the different pages. All right, so now it's creating the CMA. Continue with this template. And it's creating it, so give it a second here. Now we can download it. And this is what it looks like. In a minute, no.
I remember I had tried to get into the RPR, then I have to pay for it.
No, it's free. If you go from the MLS
Mhm.
and click on the RPR link, it'll ask you to create a login, but then when you log in from the MLS, it'll automatically log you. But if you try to go into the RPR website
Yeah.
separately,
Mhm.
you have to put in a user and password,
But it's paid, you have to pay for it.
if you're not a realtor.
Oh.
This is included in your fees that you pay
I
to the
see.
board.
Okay.
Okay, so this is what the report looks like. This is information on the property itself. Let's see. I've never used this report myself, but just want to show you guys that there's another option. Estimated value,
And more information.
pricing summary. There's a lot of pages on this. So if you guys want to use this, you can use this. It has all the pictures. Here you go. Average sold price per square foot. Yeah, so I mean, if you guys want to do a combination of both of them, maybe this will find some properties like it did now. That are comps that you can use, that the other one didn't. But. You guys have two options. Any questions on any of them? And again, it's not gonna be, you're not gonna have like the perfect exact list price, guess the list price. Again, everyone's gonna come up with something different. So as long as you have the evidence that back up what you're suggesting after looking at their home, but you also have this, then you should be good. Yes,
Um, Depending on the client's needs and how rushed they are to sell the house, that affects the selling price, right? And you can price it lower to sell it
Faster.
fast because the client wants. However, if that's not what the client wants, he doesn't say anything, and you kind of go with the lower pricing to sell it fast, has it happened that the client later complains, oh,
well,
you sold too fast, maybe my home wasn't priced right, what's going on?
you're always gonna have people like that. But ultimately, it's gonna be up to them what they want to price it. So you're gonna tell them, you're gonna show them the
The
evidence,
range.
right? And then you're gonna ask them, what would you like to list at? Sometimes they're gonna say, what do you think? What do you think we should list at? And then you can tell them your opinion. But sometimes they're gonna have a price in mind, let's list it at this price. Or you can give them options, you can say, look, we can list it at this price, and it's gonna sell faster. Or we can list it at this price, but it'll just know it's gonna sit on the market longer. Or you could go somewhere in between, and then maybe it'll, sell in between that time frame. It depends on what their time frame is.
Have you had someone complain later on? They purposely priced my home low to sell it fast, get their commission, and they didn't think about me, I could have made more.
I've only had people that wanna overprice their homes, that I talked them into not overpricing it, where it sells for less than listing price. And it sells for what I told them originally it was gonna sell for. Right, and then, I just recently had one that was way overpriced, and I originally told them this is what the market says it's worth. Even with all your upgrades, maybe we can get, maybe $100,000 more, because everything's brand new. And I updated the seller, which I do with every seller, every week. With anything new on the market, so they can know what their competition is, anything that closed. To let them know, hey, this just closed for this price. And just to let them know, hey, you're still overpriced, because this one just closed for way less than yours. Also how many showings, how many offers and everything, so if you update the seller on a weekly basis. Even if there's nothing, let them know, because sellers sometimes think like, oh, you forgot about me, are you even working for me, are you doing anything for me? You have to let them know. Keep them updated on what's going on. Not just with that property itself, but in the neighborhood with the competition. All right, so I think we're good with this. Does anybody have any questions?
Not right now.
Anybody on Zoom? No questions, okay. I guess we'll just leave it at that.
Actually, I had one question.
Yes,
So is there any limitation on how many times you could build a CMA like per day? Like let's say you have a client or even the agent themselves is an investor, can you use MLS to build comps for properties that you're looking at?
yes. And thank you for bringing that up. You're not only gonna use comparable properties when you're looking up for coming up with a suggested list price, but when you're gonna submit an offer, right? So let's say you're taking your buyers out to look at properties and they like a property, and you ask them, how much would you like to offer? They're always gonna say, what do you think I should offer? How much is it actually worth? And when they don't say that, they already have a price in mind, it's not realistic, they're gonna say $100,000 less than what the asking price is. They already want to lowball and try to start, negotiating. But if a buyer's serious and they really want the property, then you're gonna go into the MLS and look at recent sales in the area, in the neighborhood, and see what they sold for. And say, look, this is what they sold for, so this is how much it's worth. So if it's overpriced, say, look, you can offer this much. Or it's up to you how much you offer. Now that you have the evidence as to what it's really worth, based on the recent sales, what would you like to offer? And they're not going into it blindly. Now they have information, now they're informed. So does that help?
Yeah,
There's no limit though, there's no limit.
so
It's a lot of work you're gonna be doing for someone that's not, if you do that for every property they want you to look up, you're gonna be sitting in front of the computer for a long time.
yeah, no, but like in terms of MLS, like MLS won't like fine you or something for like using their
No,
platform,
you're paid for it.
right?
Yeah, you're paying for access. There's no, it doesn't give you a limit on how many searches you can do per day or how many CMAs you can create. There's no limit on it.
Okay, thank you.
As long as, the only thing they care about is that you're using the MLS data for informational purposes only and, not to solicit business.
Right.
Just like, they talked about during the meeting on Tuesday, that the MLS, if you use the MLS data to look up expireds, and then you call the homeowner and say, hey, I saw on the MLS that your home expired. And you straight up said, I looked in the MLS and I noticed your home was expired, and now I'm calling you to get your business, you can get fined for that. Right? So the MLS is to use for informational purposes only, not to solicit business.
You can still call, just not use the word MLS,
Don't
right?
say it.
But get your data from MLS.
I didn't say that.
I know.
Whenever
Oh, I'm joking.
whenever I've reached out to expired listings, because I used to market to 2 to 4 units. And I would, I send out either letters, well, I would send out letters to investors with the owners of the properties and say, just let them know, hey, I noticed your property didn't sell. I didn't say, I noticed in the MLS, because that's not where I got the data from, by the way. I noticed that your property did not sell, and it might be for, maybe it wasn't marketed properly, maybe, there was, whatever it was, right? There's a letter that I had. Contact me, I'm with Golden Lake Properties, we're a huge brand, blah, 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 all this stuff, and we're the greatest, call me. But I would send out letters, I wouldn't call them because I didn't want to risk the do not call list and getting in trouble there, and they're probably getting calls from everybody. And for me, the letter looked more professional, and it's not a flyer they're gonna throw out, they're gonna open a letter. They're like, oh, what's this, I got a letter, what is this? They're gonna open it up, they're gonna look at it. And whether they read it or not, at least I got them that far. Right, because when you send a flyer, they see the flyer, trash, right? So, but anyway, it's up to you on what you want to do, but I would recommend not to call. You can knock on the door. You can leave a flyer or package on their door. Do not put anything in their mailbox, because that's a federal offense to open anybody's mailbox.
But if the seller asks you, where did you get that information? How do you answer that?
I don't have an answer for that.
There's something,
Yeah,
seller is very defensive.
yeah.
One was asked.
And that's a good answer. I saw it on Zillow, but it's not on Zillow anymore.
I've been looking at that area and I saw that you were.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so next week's class is gonna be the listing presentation. So now that we created a CMA, now we have to present it to the owner of the property, right? And we're gonna talk about, how to present it, what to say, what to do when you go into the property and so forth. So, and usually I'll either do the class that I have set up, or I'll bring in a guest to tell you how they do their listing presentation, because there's not one exact way of doing it. Everyone's gonna have their own way, their own style, their own, format of how to do a listing presentation. So if I can get somebody to come in and talk about how they do their listing presentation, I'll do that. If not, then I'll be doing it myself. So,
Is it possible if you can bring a CMA report, the actual report that you physically hand in to the seller? Can you bring one we can see in the print form? And a folder or somehow with your card in it, you know how you do it, the actual physical report
yeah,
that you give to clients, do that.
An example of package.
if I do, it's gonna be in black and white though. I don't have a color printer to do that. If I'm gonna do like a CMA or someone, I will print it in color, but I don't have a color printer to print the sample.
Black and white will be
I can do a black and white with,
Yeah.
and bind it,
Yeah, I like to see how everyone present that physical.
fine.
Okay.
You
And
can
again,
say
everyone's
very
gonna
fine.
do it differently. Like I know Mike Dunn, he has he actually has these like book covers. Like the actual book covers with his logo on it. And then he's got this binder that it's the heat binder that glues the pages into it. So it looks like a book that was prepared specifically for the owner. It costs a lot more money, but that's a pretty nice presentation.
Can we have one of his samples? Look at some of
I
it.
can ask him, I don't know,
Yeah, just.
I
the
can't tell you you can
from
have one, but.
A year ago, or just if he has.
But he
kept
gives
it.
them to the owners. He leaves it with them, so I don't know.
Oh, he
if
never
he's gonna
keeps
have-
something for himself.
Yeah, I don't know, I can ask him, but like I said, everyone's gonna have something different. Someone might, an agent might put it in a folder with the pockets in. Another agent might bind it, we have a binder here that, with the comb, you know, what do they call it? Spiral binder, yeah,
If you can send the electronic file, what we find, so we can print it. And-
or, you know, I have a bone to pick with you guys. Not all of you guys, but I asked.
I knew that. was
I
coming.
asked
I
you
knew
guys
that.
to send me I asked you guys to send me